Good morning. My name is Doug Perry. I'm the fire marshal with the City of San Diego Fire Rescue Department. To start, Christmas tree fires are not common, but they do happen. The bad thing about them, when they do happen, they can be very severe, and very bad injury or death can occur. Again, you'll see in a few moments that we're going to have a demonstration, and what we want you to see is just how large and how much heat and how much flame and how much smoke is created by the tree once it starts on fire. So being from the Bureau, prevention is my number one thing. So how do you have the best potential to not have a tree fire? It's to prevent it. And how do you do that? It starts from the very minute that you walk onto the tree lot. You want to find a tree that is not dry. How do you do that? What we recommend is that you look at the tree, and usually if the tree is very green, it's a good indicator. But then the next thing we ask you to do is to actually grab the tree with your hand and close your hand and see if any of the needles break off. If that happens, that's a bad indicator. Then the next thing we would like you to do is to actually grab the trunk of the tree, shake the tree the best you can, and if you're seeing a lot of needles fall onto the ground, do not select that tree. It's not a good thing. It's probably going to be in your house possibly a couple of weeks, and if you don't keep it watered, it's only going to get worse. The next step is to keep it watered. What we're seeing now this year, a lot of the tree stores are actually providing a packet of a mixture that will allow the tree to keep its moisture better. And what we ask you to do, if it's not done at the tree farm or the store, is to cut off the bottom inch or two on the trunk, put it into the holder, mix this mixture, put it into the bottom of the tree holder, and believe it or not, even if it's a cut tree, once you cut that bottom 2 inches off, it will still absorb and keep the tree safer. Position the tree at least 3 feet away from any heat source. We're not talking about just open flame. In your house, if you have heater registers that are up higher or located by the tree, that will intensify the drying out, so try to keep that at least 3 or 4 feet away. The other thing a lot of people don't think about on a Christmas tree is the lighting that they put on it. The lighting needs to be UL approved, Underwriter Laboratory. It's a testing facility that says this device has been tested and is safe, but it's only as safe as you maintain it or you install it. So what we ask you to do before putting it onto the trees is that we ask you to plug the lights in, inspect the strand of lights, and make sure that there's no breaks in them, no kind of stuff that can cause an arc. The other thing we ask is you have to have an electrical source to run the lights, so try to get the tree closer to an outlet so you're not running extension cords all over your house. If you're going to use a multi-plug adapter, we want you to use the power strips that have a breaker in it and have a little switch that turns on and off, so that if you have a problem, that breaker trips at that device and there's no continued threat. Even if you do all of this precautionary stuff, the weak link is going to be the strands of light that are going to be potentially your ignition source to start the tree fire. So we recommend and we really urge that if you're going to be away from the house or when you go to bed, the lights get unplugged and you don't plug them back in until you wake up the next morning and are going to have the tree operation at night. It's important to remember that even artificial trees can pose a fire hazard. Those same strands of light, if they have a break in them, that fake tree or artificial tree potentially could cause a shock to you. Even though they're treated, you can have some melting, and a lot of times the plastic, when it starts to melt, turns into almost like a flammable liquid, and you can have a pretty intense fire. We ask that when the season's over, that instead of throwing the tree away, that you take it to a recycle place and have it recycled. If you're having any issues with your trees or you see something bad happening, we want you to call 911 right away. Get us there. That's our job. We would prefer to come to a non-event than for you to wait and have to be outside and go to a neighbor's house and call 911. If it takes that long, what we can guarantee you here today, that tree will be completely consumed, your house will be on fire, and you will be losing very valuable stuff. Another thing, outdoor decorations. Being an outdoor decorator myself, the thing that we concern about is when we get on the ladders. The ladders are usually pretty solid. It's those of us that are on the ladders that are unsafe. We don't want you to overreach. We want you to have somebody securing the ladder so that it's not just a balance thing. And believe it or not, we do have injuries from people falling off the ladders and causing head injuries and/or broken bones. With that, I would like to introduce Susan Day, the Executive Director of the Burn Institute.
55% of the home decoration fires are started by candles. We encourage folks to consider the alternative to candles. Those old-fashioned candles can be very dangerous for your home and for the people within it. So think about the battery-operated ones. They look pretty good, and they're inexpensive at this time. If you are using the old-fashioned candles, place them on a heat-resistant surface, and make sure it has a collection area. So if there is dripping wax, it falls into that collection area to prevent fires and burns. You also never want to leave children around lit candles. They are very quick and they can get caught on fire very quickly, and it's very dangerous to have children and pets running around candles. Make sure you always trim your wicks down to 1/4 of an inch, and always extinguish the candles before you go to bed or leave the area. We also encourage families to use fireplace screens. If you have a fireplace, be sure to keep the sparks at a minimum. Kitchen safety is an important part of the Burn Institute's message all year long, but it's important that people take extra precautions while in the kitchen. We want to be sure that when cooking, you put the pot handles to the center of the stove. We want to also encourage you to keep hot liquids in the center of a table. Don't use a tablecloth if you have little ones that tend to grab the tablecloths and pull on them. Therefore, scalds can happen. It can be done with hot liquids or scalding soups and other kinds of food that are very hot directly from the oven or from the stove. What we're learning is that children ages 0 to 4 are most often scalded, and that can be because parents are holding the child while holding a hot liquid or hot beverage. So if you are holding a small child, make sure that you have a travel cup that has a very secure top on it. We also encourage you to keep your water heater. We encourage you to keep your water heater at no more than 120 degrees. Children and seniors have very thin skin, and they can be scalded very, very quickly if you have extra hot water heaters. I'd also like to talk a little bit about flammability of children's clothing. And we're going to have a demonstration, but what's most important is to be careful when you're selecting a child's clothing. Pajamas are the number one child clothing that ignites. So when you're selecting your children's clothing, especially for pajamas, you want to make sure that they are indicated as flame resistant. If you can't find a tag that says flame resistant, you might want to change your mind and look around a little more. If you're getting hand-me-downs, you want to look to make sure that what you put your children in at night is typically a polyester or a blend. 100% cotton night pajamas are very flammable, and this is an important thing to take in mind when you're keeping the safety of your children in the house. We also want to encourage you to make sure that the children are wearing somewhat form-fitted pajamas, because if they're loose and they're flowing around, they can ignite by going by a candle or a fire in the fireplace or even a space heater. So the children should wear tight-fitting pajamas that are flame-resistant. The t-shirt that you're seeing lighted by the professionals is 100% cotton. You can see how quickly it's igniting and the flames are catching throughout the whole garment. With 100% cotton, while it might be comfortable, it's also very flame prone. It doesn't take much more than a spark to get this garment engulfed in flames. Again, when choosing children's sleeping garments, you want to make sure they're synthetic fiber, such as nylon. And these fibers will melt, but they won't continue. They'll stop burning in a small patch. More information can be found at the Burn Institute's website at burninstitute.org. So with this demonstration, you'll see another set of pajamas. Now this is made out of a synthetic material, a polyester or a polyester blend. And you'll see that the professionals are trying to light it. And you can see the flames are immediately extinguishing. It's nearly impossible to get it to continue to combust.
Burn the hole! Burn the hole! Burn the hole!
You just saw a short simulation. Very quickly you see the fire fully engulfed, and if you were here you could feel the heat, and we're about 15 feet away from it. You're seeing a lot of smoke build up, you can feel the temperature increasing, and that smoke is just going to continue to bank down. If you're inside your house, the smoke has no place to go. The smoke's going to continue to bank down. It's going to cause it very difficult for you to breathe, and potentially the smoke can get you. The heat's getting much, much stronger here. You see a GoPro down to the right. That GoPro might be melting in a few minutes. As you can see, now the couch is on fire. It continues to burn. I'm announcing and I'm backing off because the heat's getting pretty intense, and this could be your house. This is why we're telling you at night, unplug everything. When you leave the house, don't leave it plugged in or unattended. This time of the season, we're supposed to be celebrating and enjoying it. If you have this happen to your house, not only are you going to lose contents, you could injure people, people in your family can die, and this is not a safe thing. So do everything you can to prevent this, but once it gets going, call 911, we'll respond immediately and extinguish the fire. As you can currently see, it takes a fire company to extinguish this fire. Even if you have an extinguisher at the house, you saw how rapidly the flames intensified. If it's nighttime and you hear the smoke detector go off immediately and you think you're going to find an extinguisher and put it out, an extinguisher will not put that fire out. The only way that fire is going out is when San Diego Fire Rescue shows up to your house and does what they do professionally and on a regular basis and extinguish the fire.